In 3, 2, 1. We are live for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host. And as usual, I'm joined by Seth Weintraub. How are you doing today, Seth?
I'm good.
All right. Not a big news week again this week. It was kind of slow. But still a few interesting things that we want to talk about. When it comes to Tesla, we got some numbers from European sales, and we got the new launch of the Model 3 Standard in Europe. So we're going to discuss a little bit of like, how's the European market looking? Can Tesla see the bottom of it? What's going to happen? So we're gonna discuss that a little bit. Then we're going to discuss a big update to FSD v14.2 for the people who have it. You know, it's supposed to be sentient. Don't know about that, but what I do know is that now Tesla is slowly starting to actually allow texting and driving, but not in the way that we would hope for, but basically in the way that we predicted. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the White House, Trump's administration officially killing the miles per gallon standard, the CAFE standard for automakers, and the automakers that celebrated that, which we're going to try not to forget about going forward, because you know, some of these people, they say things one way and then the other way with their lobbyists they say other things. We're going to talk a little bit about Toyota. They unveiled a new Lexus LFA concept that's now electric, but they also unveiled a new ICE brand, a new luxury ICE brand that they want to launch. So we're going to talk about the contradiction there, and one of the EVs from Toyota that is actually doing very well in China. We're going to take a look at that just to, you know, a little monthly reminder of what they get in China that we don't get in North America. And we're going to end, well, we're not going to end the show with it. We're going to end the news portion of the show with a little talk, a little update about Aptera. There've been a few updates this week that we want to discuss. And then we're going to end the show as usual with questions from you guys. So if you're watching live, I'm going to remind you of that later on as more people jump into the chat. But we're going to talk to the chat about whatever you want to talk about in the EV world or renewable energy world. All right, let's start about some numbers coming out from Europe for Tesla this week. So we've been tracking this decimation Tesla sales in Europe over the last year. Well, over the last 2 years, really, it accelerated in 2025. So that's the thing that I keep reminding people when we talk about these Tesla numbers. These are compared to 2024 numbers, which were already down compared to 2023, which was the peak for Tesla in Europe. And it's also amid a surge in EV sales in Europe. So let's take a look here, because the numbers are interesting this quarter, because Norway is saving face for Tesla. It's saving Tesla's face in Europe, because Norway was up 175% in November, which is huge. Even with that, even with its biggest market being up 175%, Tesla was down 12% in Europe. In fact, it was down in every market except Norway and Italy. And we're going to discuss why, because that's the concerning part about this, is that there's good reason why it's up in those markets and then it's down everywhere else. If you remove Norway from the equation and you keep Italy, Tesla is still down 36.8%. So the decline is still ongoing. You know, Tesla has been down between 30 and 40% year over year for each month of the year, basically. So it's not even slowing down at this point, other than the Norway situation and the Italy situation. So what's happening in Norway? We discussed it, you know, last month. Norway basically declared victory on their goal of going all electric. And they were like, so we're going to start a phase out of the EV incentive because of that. So it starts next year. And as usual, when you remove an incentive, it pulls demand forward, much what happened in the US in Q3, for example. So a lot of people are rushing to buy their EVs before basically the tax exemption is going away. So the tax exemption is going away for more expensive EVs. I think the threshold, I want to say 30,000. I think I linked it in there somewhere. No. Yeah, here. I think it's for 30,000 euros EVs. 300,000. So of course, they're not on euros; they are in kroners, Norwegian kroners. So 30,000 Norwegian kroners, which is about 30,000 USD. So yeah, for vehicles that are more than $30,000, which right now it was 500,000 kroners, which is closer to 50,000 USD. So it's a big drop. It's a 20,000% drop. And as you would imagine, all of Tesla's EVs are within that new range. So Tesla is the biggest beneficiary of the demand pull, but temporary beneficiary, obviously, because Q1 2026 probably going to be very tough for Tesla in Europe because of that, because that's the only good sign. Italy, similar things. It's an incentive things, but it's the other way around. So there's a new incentive that's been put in place. So that's boosting sales right now. But even then, you can see that Tesla is still lagging quite a bit, because even though it's up 58% in November, thanks to those new incentive, the rest of the market is up 150% in EVs. So Tesla is still lagging behind. But yeah, everything else is down, including big markets like Germany. A little boost in Germany to just down 20%, which is good for Tesla in Germany, because they've been down like 60% at times. Netherlands, another big market for Tesla, down 43%. France down 58%. Yeah, it is just not a good look. Almost 60% in Sweden is just not a great situation for Tesla. Now there is the new Model Y, standard Model Y, and standard Model 3. So Model Y launched last month. Standard Model Y in Europe. Whoop, I'm backing up again. Still doing this thing. But now the new Model 3 standard has been launched in Europe, and the price is interesting. So much like what happened in North America, where like not a big fan of the Model Y standard, the D content, the stripped down version in terms of a value proposition, it just doesn't make that much sense compared to the price of the now premium Model Y. But the standard one is interesting. So in Europe, much like in the US, you have this like $40,000 price range that, well, now it's getting closer to like 45 and 50 with inflation and everything. But there's this sticker price that's kind of a psychological barrier for people. In Europe, it's closer to like 37,000 euros. You go over that, it starts to get pretty expensive. So Tesla got right there at 37,000 euros for the standard range Model Y, which is a big drop from the 45,000 euros premium Model 3 rear-wheel drive. And so that's a big difference. So you go 8,000 euros difference between the two models. So it's a big drop in price. You open up the market quite a bit. But you see in Norway, it comes in at 330,000 Norwegian kroner. So it's still going to be off of the limit for the tax exemption. So Tesla's not going to be able to benefit from that. But with the different price, with the specs and everything, it's still a good offering. You can compare them to, we pulled up some comparison, so the ID4, ID3, you can compare it to like the BYD Atto, for example, is 38,000 euros in Germany. So the Model 3 is cheaper. Now it's more like a crossover SUV so closer to the Model Y, but then the Model Y is, a lot better, let's say, than the Atto. So you're going to pay quite a bit more. The iX3, $36,000 to $39,000. So, it's within the price range of the standard Model 3. It's a crossover, so you can also compare it to the Model Y, but the Model Y is quite a bit bigger. Is it quite a bit bigger than the iX3?
I think it's a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And but the Model 3, the Model Y standard, like I said, just at 40,000 euros, just not as attractive, because then you compared it to the base version of the previous Model Y, and it was 45 basically. So you have 5,000 euros difference versus 8,000 euros difference between the two cheaper trims of Model 3 versus Model Y. And for that, you lose 100 kilometers of WLTP range and a lot of features. We talked about like the textile versus vegan leather. You lose the rear screen. You lose the heated seat in the back. You lose the audio system is quite a bit downgraded. You lose the glass roof, even though you don't actually lose the glass roof. You lose the panoramic view because the glass roof is still there. It's just covered. And it's not the same glass also, so it's not exactly the same too. So it's not like you can just open it up and you remove the headliner and be like, hey, I have a glass roof. I think it doesn't have the same anti-UV property. But yeah, so the way I see is like this could help Tesla for sure. It could sort of revive a little bit the Model 3 specifically in Europe, because if you look at the cells now, it's so heavy for the Model Y, and Model Y will help like stop the bleeding. I would assume the standard Model Y, standard Model 3 could open up a little bit and like room to grow the program, I think, in Europe, and there's plenty of room to grow there because, like I said, Tesla is down basically 30% each month for the year. They're down 30% on the year basically, versus the market being up 50% for the year. So there's a lot of room to catch up here for Tesla, and obviously competition is still growing quite a bit, but at those price range, Tesla is still attractive, I think, in Europe, and 37,000 euros price range. It's not bad. The way I see it, best case scenario, Tesla forms a bottom in Europe in Q1 2026. So after all the demand being pulled forward in Norway is going to need probably a few quarters to stabilize after the changes in the tax exemption, and it's still a big market. And then some good signs in Germany right now with just being down 20% versus 60 sometimes. So yeah, I can see Tesla forming a bottom soon in Europe. All right, still on Tesla. Last piece of news on Tesla, it's the FSD. So we talked about this comment from Elon during the shareholder meeting in early November, so just a month ago at this point. He said on stage that the killer app, the thing that's going to propel FSD to the next level, it's not delivering on what we promised, which is unsupervised self-driving. It is texting and driving. Everyone wants to text and drive. And he does have a point on that. You go on traffic and you look around you, and you're going to see quite a few people texting and driving. And Elon had this argument that he was seeing in the data that people were deactivating FSD to be able to text and drive, because FSD will detect your use of phone and will warn you to pay attention to the road, and even deactivate if you don't comply. So he was like, within a month or two, we're going to allow you to text and drive. That's all he said. That's the way he said it, which opened up a lot of way more question than answers. Whereas, how is that going to work? Because Tesla is a level 2 system. Tesla is not taking any responsibility for you while you drive. If you want to allow, using quote air quotes, it would imply legally. So it would imply certifying FSD as a level 3 minimum system, and then taking over the responsibility for the vehicle while it's active for a certain period of time, much like Mercedes-Benz has done in some markets. But we suspected that would not be the case. What we said at the time, like what I wrote and what I think we discussed on the podcast too, is that the only possible scenario I see, which is like the worst case scenario really, is that Tesla doesn't move to legally allow you to text and drive, but instead we'll play the game of like, we don't see it. We don't see it. So basically downgrading the driver monitoring system so that it doesn't, if it does detect you using your phone, it won't stop you from using FSD. It will allow it. That's how it will allow it. But that still leaves the full responsibility onto you, because let's be honest, if you get caught driving and texting at the same time, the police won't care what version of FSD you're on. They will just give you a ticket. That's how it works. But now what we learned, so we didn't know exactly how that would be implemented, but an FSD user on X noted that he was using his phone while driving FSD, which is admission of a traffic violation. and that he was allowed to use it. He didn't get alert to stop using it, and FSD didn't disengage, and he was on the latest update of FSD v14.2.1. And Elon responded to that, saying, so at the end of his statement, the driver was like, is Tesla allowing us to test and drive now? And then Elon responded, depending on context of surrounding traffic, yes. So this is the actual real first step of Tesla allowing you to text and drive depending on context surrounding traffic. I assume like in like heavy traffic area at slower speed, they're going to allow you to do it, something like that. What do you think, Seth?
So Tesla's going to allow you to do it, or the local authorities are going to allow you to do it?
Tesla is enabling you to use FSD while texting and driving. And on paper, Elon is agreeing with this, meaning that Tesla is allowing it now. What is that? Like, there's the CEO of your car company saying you can text and drive. I don't think that makes it legal. You cannot be stopped by the police and said, "Hey, Elon said that was okay." Like, it doesn't work like that.
Here's the tweet, officer. Like,
take
that ticket and shove it up your ass.
Yeah. Friend of Electrek, Earl on Twitter said that he was gonna print out the tweet and keep it in his glove box. So if he gets stopped, he just pulls out the tweet. Elon, which I think can be your boss to some degree, considering his involvement in the government, is telling me that I can do it. It's nonsense, obviously. Now the argument that I've heard from the Tesla community, which I always try to justify everything Tesla does, is that people were doing it anyway, and now it's just, and you have to agree that it is safer to text and drive on FSD than it is without FSD. Something that I can agree with. It makes sense. Yeah, if someone is gonna text and drive anyway, I would prefer them to be on FSD than not on FSD. However, the problem, there's two different problems. A pure safety problems, you have to consider now, are there going to be more people that are going to text and drive because they have FSD and they think it's okay because Elon says it's okay? That's a real safety concern that could decrease overall safety rather than increase it. We have to consider that. So that's crazy. Then on a more business related problem is the liability issue. I mean, dear Lord, how many lawyers just got so excited when Elon texted that, like tweeted that publicly? It's like they all screenshotted it. All the lawyers that are working on autopilot cases right now screenshotted that thing, put it in a nice file, and now going forward, you can tell you, like, obviously it's going to only affect accidents going forward, but any accident, the very accident that Tesla lost the $240 million case on was related to someone using their phone on autopilot. That's how it started. And they lost the case at trial because the guy made the argument that Tesla sold me the car in a way that, and Elon himself sold the car in a way that I thought this was okay. And now he made it explicitly okay. So now going forward, so that was a day, that was yesterday, yeah? Yeah, I think it was, December 4th. So December 4th onward, all you need to prove is that you saw that tweet, and if you get into an accident that while using your phone on FSD, you can actually at least partially blame Tesla on it easily if you use the last trial as a I'm blanking on the word when you use a previous trial as an example, as a
precedent,
exactly. Tesla can at least be partially found responsible for that crash. It's crazy.
Yep.
We have Dano here says using voice texting while driving is still dangerous because you have to read the text before sending it to make sure your voice recognition hasn't typed something embarrassing. There's some mention I can read the text out for you.
Yeah, CarPlay and Android Auto read the text.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, does it Tesla? No, it doesn't. Anyway.
I haven't used the Tesla texting thing for a long time. All right, that's it for the Tesla news for the day. If you guys want to ask us any question, like Dan or have a comment to add to the situation, you can put them in the chat right now. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, X, everywhere. If you could put the question in there, we're going to answer it in like 10, 15 minutes. Next piece of news is coming from Trump. So it's something that we know is going to happen. Trump has been promising that all of the regulatory standards that are plaguing the auto industry is the reason why uh, pricing kept going up, including electric vehicle, forcing people to make electric vehicles. And he had attacked this on several fronts, starting with the APA, which he has gutted. And then there's the California standard that the CARB states, they call it, because other states have adopted it. He attacked that too. Then he attacked the incentives for electric vehicles at this incentive level for at the purchase level. So the tax credit, the $7,500 tax credit. Now it's the CAFE standard. So the standard, the corporate average fuel economy, which basically forces automakers to keep improving year after year on the overall miles per gallon that they deliver. And obviously, with the MPGE, the miles per gallon equivalent that we calculate for electric vehicles, delivering an electric vehicle will greatly help with your average. They are just released their new proposal that they're going to try to pass that will basically scrap the 50 miles per gallon goal for 2031 and reduce it to 34.5 miles per gallon. So as you can imagine, that changes basically enables automakers to throttle down their EV efforts quite a bit, because 34.5 is a lot more achievable without all electric powertrain than 50. Like to get to 50, you need a bunch of vehicles in the 80s and 70s miles per gallon equivalent, which is only achievable with a plug-in, very efficient plug-in or all electric powertrain. So yeah, at the Jamie has a very good post on this, by the way, if you want to read it. It's called "White House Unveil Plan to Raise Your Fuel Cost Despite Affordability Crisis." Because yes, this will automatically will not reduce your cost. Like it's not, if this actually result in a sharp decline in average cost of new car sales, I'll be very impressed. Because there was a lot of things in the announcement, like saying like, oh, the reason we don't have K cars is this. Is like, how a K car would actually like boost your miles per gallon efficiency. Like it will not reduce it. Yeah. So who was actually happy about this? So at the announcement, you have some disappointing faces, including Jim Farley. We really like Jim Farley's push for electric vehicle, but the guy was pretty happy about that because obviously his gasoline, his ICE vehicles are still the profit makers for Ford. Stellantis CEO Antonio Filosa was also there and cheering them on, and obviously Mary Barra, who's flip-flopper as much as anybody else, a true politician of the car industry. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Barra do a political run after her tenure as CEO of GM. She really has the politician mindset. I feel like she's also was there cheering on. Said today, I'm always going to advocate for one national standard and making sure regulatory requirements don't get in front of the consumers. Great job on that. As Jamie pointed out, she says that at the same time she lobbied against the single national standard that had been agreed between Obama and California during Obama's administration. So not a great look. Like, we agree on one national standard, that's our priority, as long as the one national standard doesn't force me to make too many electric vehicles. GM has been doing better too with EVs, so it's just that they find it hard to see a clear path to replacing their profit centers with EVs. I think that's what they're scared about. Yeah. But it can be done. Like before, going all wacko and all in on autonomy, Tesla was extremely profitable for a little while. It's not the case anymore because they let their lineup just go through it. But it seems feasible. It seems completely feasible.
Yeah.
BYD making good money.
Yep.
Selling mostly all electric vehicles now. 45% or so plug-in hybrids still. All right, let's talk Toyota a little bit. Yeah.
Do we know if Kia, Hyundai, Genesis, how profitable their EVs are? Do we have any breakout numbers? I don't think they provide those, right?
Nah, so yeah, that's Ford is the best one. That front, with like they split it very well.
Right.
So in terms of legacy automakers, but no, I don't think Kia. I think they did say though that Hyundai did say that some of their programs are being profitable now. Though I think I remember them saying that like a year or
Something like
two
that. Yeah.
ago. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Toyota a little bit. So Toyota had a bid week. They announced a new brand that they want to launch. That's going to be an ICE brand. So there was that was like, okay, launching an ICE brand in 2025 just doesn't sound like the most forward-thinking idea. But they also unveiled this thing, the new LFA concept, an all-electric car that's supposed to embody the technology that the engineer of its time should preserve. I think it's not bound to vehicle powered by internal combustion engine, hinting at electric. I don't think there's many specs, though. There's just some dimensions. So 185 inches long, 80 inches wide, 47 inches tall. So you can see it's a shorty build. The exterior looks really good. Classic LFA with a little bit of futuristic look, but still not too concept-y. Unlike the inside is a lot more concept-y. I do like that the clicky thing works now. We can see the full screen images. They did say that there was some hint that this might be like the first vehicle that launched with their solid state batteries in 2027, so that we could see a possible production version of this concept. It's really nice, especially with solid state batteries. You could keep the weight relatively light. Could be a fun little sporty car.
Yep. Looks like fun.
Mm-hmm. So on the other side of the spectrum of electric Toyota vehicle, one side you have this crazy supercar. Oh, it's still not working. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's weird. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the BZ. Is it the BZ3? It's only available in China. The BZ3X. And it's gaining some momentum. It's actually getting like more EVs than Toyota has ever sold before, or more BEVs at least. So it starts at 100,000 yuan, which is basically $15,000. But look at what car you get for $15,000. This doesn't look bad at all. A little bit boxy, but look at the interior. $15,000 vehicle. You can have a lie flat front seat.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Dual lie flat. Check the
It
dash.
kind of looks like a Rivian in turn, like from afar.
Yeah, less frills, less luxury for sure. But yeah, and the design language looks amazing and very minimalist. Obviously, you would expect that from a cheaper vehicle, but this is a $15,000 car. I don't know if this is a $15,000 interior though. I'm sure there's some like upgrades, but still. But the crease. So okay. Yeah, so you have the full but even then, like the top of the line version with the LiDAR and everything is $20,000. It's 150,000 yen. So the base version starts with a 50 kilowatt hour battery pack. You can upgrade it to a 68 kilowatt hour battery pack for 430 kilometers, 267 miles, up to 610 kilometers, 279 miles, and it's starting to sell pretty well. They're 2 months in a row now with over 10,000 units. They sold 62,000 units to date. It's picking up. You just produce that in North America, probably sell it. It's going to cost more. But even if it's like $25,000, $30,000, it would sell like very well. All right, we're going to finish on a quick update on Aptera, and then we're going to jump into the comment section. I see you guys are already in there with some questions. We have James here. We have Kwame. We have Dano. Thanks, you guys, for joining the show. Aptera, we've been updating on Aptera since they went public. And through going public, they managed to secure an option to sell up to 75 million worth of share to finance their ramp up to gain the capital for ramping up to production. And we've been, cautiously optimistic about it. Like, it's, making an electric vehicle is a capital intensive endeavor. 75 million might sound like a lot, but for something like that, it's peanuts. It's really not a lot. And but it could be feasible. So we've been tracking every little bit of information Aptera has been doing to see if they are still, chugging along towards that goal. And this week they had an update where they shared the video of their production line, their assembly line. And there's some parts that are hidden that they don't show. You have the full video on YouTube here. You can have a better look of the production line. So they have now a lot of more production intent vehicles. So they have a fleet of, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 new production intent vehicles that they're building for their validation fleet. They showed us a few of their staff too that they're hiring, because they've been a big boost on the headcount since going public. They've been able to hire more people, which is good. But yeah, the actual, let's see the production line that they show here. So production line looks, as you can see, a lot of empty shelves and everything. Very much a work in progress. So it is progress, but it's like, this doesn't, like, I've seen a lot of vehicle assembly lines in my days, and this is not normally what it looks like when you're about to start even low volume production. So they showed some battery packs. So they have their partner, I forget the name of their partner, CTNS, that are building battery packs now directly at the battery modules at Aptera's own factory, which is shortening the production, the supply of the packs. That's good. And they have a few modules here, and like I said, we have a quick view of their. Here you see the end assembly. That's like, they are going through all the assembly process and one by one building the stations for it through the assembly of the production intent vehicle, which is how it works. So it's legit work and everything, but they still look like they are 6 months to a year away from an actual production line. To me, it looks like. Now, that doesn't mean they won't have like a low number of mostly handmade vehicle, but they said that they're making progress on the non-handmade body production. It's a carbon body, so they call it. They have a Binks, I think they call it, for the production. Interesting. But what else? So the validation process. So they have. They said that what's the word that they use for the Gemini? So Gemini was the third production intent vehicle that they produced. And they said it was encouraging results from the preliminary combined drive cycle testing. So high-speed stop-and-go urban driving. Not a lot of information there, and just the word encouraging. But they use that to have now their new 6 production intent vehicle. They're going to put that into a more regular, validation testing. And then from there, they're going to move to low-volume production next year. So yeah, in short, cautiously optimistic is the I can see a path to Aptera, producing a few and delivering them. Not saying it's going to be a success, but at least like some people might actually get to drive these things, which alone would be a victory. I think would be if they can deliver a few of these customers, I think would be exciting on its own.
For sure. Maybe we'll even get invited out to check them out.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like if they have an actual like production version, and they can deliver a few, and just to get people thinking differently about what could be. Even as Trump said this week, is like, why are we not making smaller vehicles? Why are we not making more efficient vehicles? Well, a lot of reason for that, and you're part of the of the problem. But
actually, the number one problem is the person making those remarks.
Yeah, and also automakers just wanting to make more profit on bigger vehicles, and also the fossil fuel industry getting involved and not disliking the fact that more gas-guzzling vehicles are good for them. There's a lot of things at play, obviously, but for the most part, there's something exciting about super efficient vehicles that, just a 2-seater is problematic for some people, but for your commute, let's say you have a commute that's less than 30 miles a day, and overall commute, you're always yourself in your car, or maybe sometimes you commute with someone else, whatever, and you live in a relatively sunny area and you can park your car in the sun, you can technically drive for free on sunlight your entire commute, day in, day out, with an Aptera.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a second car, like I think, like for a family, obviously it doesn't make any sense. I think if it's gonna be your single car, doesn't make a ton of sense to either. But most families have like two car. Most like middle class to upper middle class families have two cars. So if you can make it work, where one of your car allows for someone to have a commute for free, driving on sunlight, and then you have your second car for like picking up the kids, whatever you need to do. I think it's very doable and could be exciting, and could directly affect the efficiency, the overall efficiency of the fleet in North America. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move into the comments. Patricio Benedin says, "Forget FSD, fix the auto wipers." This is a point that people bring up a lot. The auto wipers are supposedly AI and intelligence based, and they haven't worked great ever. And I don't know, are your auto wipers any better than they
They're
used to
not
be?
as bad as they used to be, but I'd say that, like, if you get medium to heavy rain or snow, every other time I need to manually intervene.
I'm about there as well. And
Yeah.
it's basically, if there's mist, forget about it. Doesn't register. And it's, sometimes, like, I don't know if you ever get this, but sometimes I'll get false positives. Like, I'll just be driving down the road, and all of a sudden, on a sunny day, or maybe not a sunny day, but like all of a sudden, and I'm like, it's kind of jarring a little bit.
Yeah. No, no, that's true. I think I've grown completely like numb to it. Like I don't care about that anymore. Like it happens so much.
Bigger fish to fry.
I don't care. The more annoying thing is like when you actually need them and they're not adjusting properly to the actual speed of precipitation. Yeah, you're right. So at the lower hand, like low precipitation, like even mist, terrible. At the higher end, also, like sometimes it works. Sometimes they get it right and everything, but every other time you have to like, no, it's not gonna work. I need to adjust it myself. They just taking way too much time in between, where you literally don't see anything for half a second, which is not a good thing.
Right. And like what's frustrating is like auto wipers have been solved like since before Tesla was around. Like it's not great. And I think the biggest part of that is that Tesla is like, oh, this is our AI. Our AI is figuring out windshield wipers, and it's not. And you're like, oh, this is what's going to be driving me around town and through traffic. And, like you get false positives on windshield wipers. It doesn't really, or, they don't work. And it doesn't really give you confidence that FSD is ever going to work.
Playing devil's advocate, I would assume Tesla would tell you like, oh, well, I mean, we put all our effort on FSD because you can save a lot more lives with FSD than you do with the wiper. But yeah, at the same time, you're right that on the marketing perspective, it doesn't bring a lot of confidence to people. It's like, yeah, how about you fix that first?
All right, Dan Overstay, using voice texting while driving is still dangerous because you have to read the text before sending to make sure voice recognition hasn't typed something embarrassing. Oh, I didn't think about that.
But that's what we discussed earlier, like that.
Yeah, CarPlay will read it back to you, I think.
Yeah, it's an option, yeah.
All right, with Netflix WB merger today, do you see any OEMs or EV manufacturers merging in the next few years during this pro-monopoly FTC?
Yeah, I mean, it's the time to do it. No one's watching.
Nobody's at home.
You. Yeah,
get it
Netflix
done quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. Am I excited about this idea? Like, not really. Like, there's gonna have to be. There's a lot more players in the car industry, at least. Like, well, I mean, there's a lot of players in streaming right now, but the big ones, like Netflix, is already the biggest one. So Netflix absorbing others like HBO, which I think has 100 or 150,000 million subscribers or something like that. Which HBO is Warner Brothers, by the way, for those who don't know. I think it's a clearer. It's not technically a monopoly, but oligopoly. I think oligopoly. When it's not a full monopoly, it's a oligopoly. Something like that.
Yeah.
It starts with an O, if I remember correctly. It's it's a clearer thing that the FTC should address probably. Then I think like if two automakers were to merge, but at the same time in the US, so that's the thing in the US. Like technically, there's like four big US automakers, but now there's like there's Lucid too, and then there's Rivian in there. And then there's Slate that's building. There's Scout. There's a lot of them, and then there's a lot of the foreign automakers too. Like Toyota has a bunch of plants in the U.S. It's like foreign automakers, but they're still very much active in the U.S. Building actual cars. So I don't know if that would be a problem for if one or two of them would be to make a few acquisition. Do I see that happening though? Oh, we often talked about Lucid, like Lucid being bought out by another company, though we always more refer to like Apple or other a tech company rather than a maybe like Uber.
Oh yeah,
Uber has a big deal with Lucid now. Can you see Lucid buying? I don't know.
That would be a little weird.
Yeah, I don't see that much consolidation right now. I think it's going to happen, inevitably, as when you have big disruption in the market and in an industry, and the auto industry is now having like two big disruption back to back with electrification and autonomy. It's generally ends up with consolidation. So I don't think it's like a window. Like right now, there's a window for like big mergers because everybody knows that Trump's FTC won't care. I don't think necessarily that the auto industry is going to capitalize on that.
All right, Jesse SEA 77. I really hope car manufacturers realize that even with Trump's efforts to stall EVs, it's only temporary, relatively speaking, and they can't lose sight of EVs' low carbon future. We talk about this sometimes, where companies like GM, kind of go whatever way the wind's blowing. They have this great Bolt platform. They're ahead of the game. They're doing well, and then Trump gets elected the first time, and they just kind of disband everybody, and like we're going to ICE, and California be damned, and all the other stuff. And then Biden gets elected, and GM's like, oh, we're EV again, and we're catching up. And then Biden says, "You did it, Mary," and then Trump gets elected, and so it's frustrating.
There's been an update on that apparently this week. I couldn't find the official source for it, but some people said that at that meeting, Mary Barra said that she claims to have told Biden that he shouldn't have said that he should have said that Tesla and Elon should get the credit for EVs.
Well, I mean, Biden's not going to remember, right?
Yeah. That's a good one, but yeah, that's the thing. It is suspicious. Like you told the president you shouldn't have given me credit. I have doubts. Doubts. Yeah. If she did, though, good for her. Like I think that's the right thing to do, because I do think that Tesla and Elon should get more credit than Mary Barra for the electric revolution. But yeah, I think there's something to that, to what you just said. Is like it cannot be good for a big company like that to keep adjusting to the political winds rather than Yeah,
and if they really truly believe what they say they believe, a zero emissions future, zero crashes, zero, all the other stuff. Like if they truly believe that, then stop. When a Republican gets elected, stop halting all the plans and changing everything. Like go full force. Stop moving around. I mean, that's why Tesla and Rivian, like they don't have a fallback plan if like everybody wants to do gas again. They're full EV, and that gives them an advantage because they don't have to be, they don't have shareholders every quarter saying, well, Trump's elected, so we want more profitable gas cars.
Yeah, it's a good point. But at the same time, like there are a lot of forces at play in North America, in the US specifically, to slow down EV adoption that you're not seeing. Like in Europe, most people are aligned on the same thing. In China, everyone is aligned on the transition and going fast, and they're already at 50%. And the Europe is like now closer to 3 times the rate of the US EV adoption. So it is a bit worrying when you have a giant business employing hundreds of thousands of people. They're like, are we going to make a product that people are not wanting to buy? Because that's the case of a large part of the US population. They just don't want to buy EVs right now. And I do get that concern, but at the same time, if you're one of those forces that's like limiting, that's like muddying the consumers on that, it's not good. I think it should be leaderships at those companies. I thought that Jim Farley was a good one until when every time Trump is within a sniffing distance, he switched up pretty quickly.
Yep.
But we need cohesive force in the US to convince the American consumer that your next car should be electric. It just makes a ton of sense. And you need a lot of forces at play to do that at the governmental level, at the infrastructure level, and then at the automaker level. The dealer level too. The dealer has been a problem for the automakers on that front. Not everyone, but some of them. So I get the concerns from the automakers, but I think you need to lead by example on that front.
Yep. All right, it's the safety or lack thereof for these microcars is why they can't be sold in the U.S. Is Trump promising to halt the safety requirement? I don't know that you can't have safety in small cars. It's obviously momentum is there's physics to it, but I think smart cars seem to be doing pretty well in crash tests, and those are quite small.
Like you say, you cannot change the physics if you have 2,000 pounds of mass that encounters 6,000 pounds of mass. Like one of them is going to handle it a little bit better. But Jamie actually went into the legislation proposal and everything, and he said there's nothing in there that actually helps smaller vehicles, electric or not.
Yeah. Would California and other states force automakers to fit the 50 standard? I don't know what the 50 standard is.
Well, now California is fighting the federal government right now to keep its CARB standard, which are higher than the CAFE standard. So, yes, if they do win, and the other states just decide to follow along, you have so that's the other thing too. We said the changing of the whims of the federal government, but they also have the state level now getting involved. So at the state level, they need to decide to follow too. So it's just not be a better situation.
All right, James Corin's 9147 says, question, I believe Elon said the first Optimus assembly line would be in Fremont. Do you think Tesla will cancel the Model X or S line to make room for Optimus?
Oh, that's the first time someone introduced that idea to me. I wouldn't be shocked. There's the Model S and X program have dwindled to very low volume production. They're not doing anything to Tesla's bottom line. And if Elon's really believes that Optimus is this, end all be all product, $1 trillion product and everything, which I think he's deluded on that fact. I think it's a possibility that they make some room in Fremont by removing Model S and X production.
That's a good point. Kwame 3134, to make the regulatory changes, will the administration have to pass it through Congress? Yeah, I imagine.
Something. Yeah. I think it's just a proposal for now. It needs to go through, but for now they have control technically over both houses. The House and the Senate.
Carl in San Diego, considering every car maker that is 100% EV is not profitable, you either believe that Tesla is a mythical beast with magic profitability shift with new accountants in 2020, or you believe that Tesla has hidden its unprofitability with bogus accounting. I think Tesla sold enough vehicles, had the scale. I think they very much could have been profitable.
Yeah.
I think they probably still are.
I don't know if they still are.
without ZEV
Now
credits?
now things are getting a little bit, gray area. I do share some of Carl's concern here. I do think Tesla did exceptionally well in 2021, 2022, even 2023. Were there any shenanigans and that kind of thing? I don't know. I don't have any proof that they were. But there is this, this amortization issue that could help Tesla. And then there's I can't think of the dilution from the not accounting expenses from these compensation package properly. So there's these two, I guess, that are expenses and related to stock option and amortization. But other than that, it's like it's a pretty gray area.
Yeah. All right. Jason of Engineering Explained just dropped a negative video about the Lucid he bought. Haven't watched it yet. I've been hearing some bad experiences about the Lucid delivery experience.
Mm-hmm.
There were some key problems. They're trying to scale up and they don't necessarily have very trained people, and there's been some problems there. So I hope they get themselves together. I have not seen the Jason.
I just started watching it earlier.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't finish it. I had to finish something before, so I saw like the first maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, and I saw a lot of his problems were software glitches related. So like the failed software updates. That I've had that issue in the car that I reviewed. That not that big of a deal because the software was actually working pretty fine on that version of mine. It's just when you get in the car, it tells you like you have to dismiss the software thing. That is audio dropping. That's a bigger concern, though. I didn't have that in my experience with Lucid, but it's a bigger concern.
All right, Carl in San Diego, it would be very helpful if auto companies want full transparency with profitability of their models. We need to be realistic about whether or not they can build these without deep incentives. I agree. It would be nice to have some more transparency, but also sometimes it's a little bit hard because R&D is shared across different models. Like there's all kinds of different variables that can be, kind of tweaked to make a car profitable or not profitable. So, but it would be kind of good to see more transparency.
Yeah, I agree.
Dan Oberstay, I'm fairly wealthy, but I wouldn't pay more than 15 to 20,000 for a 2-seater commuter car. I mean, what's a Miata go for these days?
A brand new 2-seater commuter car, that's not realistic today, but I guess if that's your limit on it, I get it. I mean, I'm sure he's referencing Aptera here, but I think Aptera, the situation is obviously, it's a brand new. It's not even a car. First of all, it's
it's a trike or bike.
Yeah, and I think you're paying a premium, obviously, because of very low cost of operation. That's helpful. It's something that actually I keep an eye on right now because you look at the cost of fuel, of gasoline in the last few years in the US, and it varies a lot more than the cost of electricity, but it's overall, it's like it stays around the same range, while the cost of electricity in the US is just skyrocketing right now, and all this AI data center stuff is not helping. So the trend is more likely to continue. So there is a future where, yes, we are improving on the cost of the sticker price of an electric vehicle is getting closer and closer to the average cost of a ICE. But the cost of operation is going the wrong way right now, just because of how high the cost of electricity is. And then that's best case scenario I'm talking about. If you're at home, if you charge at home, which is still going to be much cheaper than gasoline right now, there's no doubt. But then when you start to include the cost of fast charging now with higher electricity rates, it's getting closer and closer, unfortunately. So I think people are going to start thinking a lot more about the actual efficiency of their EVs compared to other EVs and how to charge them, such as with solar or with either at home or on the car itself.
All right, where's Tesla regarding a full redesign recall on their dangerous door handle designs that have killed people after accidents? Where's the response to proven danger? Not sure I know about that one. Obviously, the Model S and X have the push to open.
But it's more about the inside of the
Oh, right.
Both in fact. So yeah, I mean they say that they are redesigning it. So I think they are admitting to a certain degree that it's it's not ideal. I don't think it's it's hard for me to blame Tesla on this one because you read your owner's manual. Technically, you're fine. You know exactly how to open the door, inside or outside, with or without electricity. That's true. It's not like FSD where you could make the argument with FSD. You read the owner's manual and you're fine. Yes, but like for the door handle, Tesla is not using marketing that the door handle will open itself if you get into a crash or something like that. Like, even though they actually said that once at one point, but it's not like FSD where you're telling you, oh, you can text and drive, or there's not a contrary marketing effort like there is with like just read the manual for the door handles. So the door handles, I think it's more of an issue. It's like there's millions and millions of Tesla out there right now. So obviously you have even if just a small percentage of people are not familiar enough with their vehicle, it's still volume wise enough people that when they get into a crash, it is becoming a real issue. So yeah, Tesla should address it, but I don't think they should be necessarily blamed for that situation.
All right, in a light mist, I'd rather have to manually tap than have it run 5 times faster than needed, like auto wipers.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Aptera being bought by an established manufacturer would be a smart move. They need reliable pathway, and their vehicle will hold up to critical assessment about life cycle assessment benefits of EVs.
Yeah. If someone, I doubt someone just picks them up right now, though. So there's only two possibility if that happens. Like if either they go, penny stock and they are near bankruptcy or bankrupt, and someone buys them for peanuts. Yeah, that could see that. Or if they actually get some momentum and another company, either an automaker or a tech company that's interested in this space, they're like, yeah, I think we can do something with that. It could be a cool product, and we can, add our tech to it or whatever, or manufacturing expertise if it's an automaker, and pick them up. Yeah, but right now in the current situation of like, won't they make it? Like it's, I don't see someone picking that IP up.
All right, a programming note: the dual YouTube cast means we can't see all the chat. It's split. I think you might want to. So there's supposed to be 2 casts, one for mobile and one for like a horizontal, and one for desktop. But we'll take a look at that. I don't know if.
So they're not seeing all the chats, and maybe we're not seeing all the chats too. Is that possible?
I think we're seeing all the chats. Yeah. But yeah, we'll take a look. Have you guys seen the Engineering Explained on? Yeah.
We already talked about that.
Lucid. I watched it. It was fair.
Oh, maybe I should watch the whole video. A lot of people are concerned about that. Look at it.
Hey, wanted to say my 2024 Model 3 14.2.1 is driving awesome. Parking needs some work. I can't wait to get. I won't get it because I have a hardware 3, but good for you.
Yeah, I'm sure unaddictedly you can get some great experience out of it for sure.
Owner's manual doesn't help any other passengers get out, and you can't open it from the outside because they didn't use mechanical handles. Is to unlock on impact, and doors can't be opened by any. All right. Has Rivian narrowed the window for the R2 release, or is it just still first half of 2026? I haven't heard any narrowing.
No, but a lot of good signs towards production that they are still, they're still on schedule.
Have you seen the Cadillac X GM Energy demo in the Malibu Canyons? I haven't. We'll have to go take a look at that.
No, I have not.
All right. That's all the comments.
Let's make a note. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to the Electrek podcast this week. If you did enjoy the show, please give us a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up, whatever it is on the app you're watching. It helps the show more than you think, and it takes a second to do. And I'm going to see you same time, same place next week.